Hey there, everyone. It's Dustin Zarni here, and I'm going to be doing these Dustin in the Car videos every Sunday, I hope, until the end of the election season to give you an idea of what's going on in the elections. I said I'd start at 7, so it's going to be coming on. I'm going to start shortly, but in the meantime, I'm just here with you, and I'm going to wait for some people to get involved, and we're going to. If you have any questions about the election, please let me know, and I'll be more than happy to to talk to you about it or give you any answers. But I'm going to go into this episode. I'm going to talk a little bit about our the primary election that's happening this Thursday, September 14th or 13th. And if you if you want to know why that is or how to vote, stay tuned. We're going to get started here shortly. I'm just, I did these in the car videos back in 2016, right before the presidential stuff for the primaries and the elections, and a lot of people seem to like them. And I try to get as much information out as possible. So I'm going to be just making sure I share these out there to see. And if you are watching this and you're not watching it live, go ahead and post a question anyways, and I'll answer them as much as possible. So now, it's 7 o'clock, so we'll get started. The primary for New York State, our local primary, our second primary this year is happening this Thursday, September 13th. And in Onondaga County, it's noon to 9 p.m. is the polling time. In New York City, it's a full day, and a few other counties, Erie County and a few other counties, it's also a full day. But here in Onondaga County, as it has been for about 100 years or so, the polling time has been noon to 9 for all primaries. In our county, all 178 polling places will be open. So the normal polling place that you use in November will be open for this primary. And what else? There are multiple primaries going on. On the Democratic side, we have the governor's primary, of course. We have the lieutenant governor's primary. We have an attorney general primary. That's all throughout the county. In the 53rd Senate District, which is most of the city of Syracuse and the town of Cicero and Fabius and Pompey and some of the southern towns, there is a primary for Democratic State Senate. Hello, David. How you doing? And David Harding, who just chimed in there. And we also, in the city of Syracuse, there's a Democratic primary for city court judge. And my role, I believe, as commissioner is not to make any public endorsements for these primaries. I let the candidates do all of that. I'm just here to see how you can get involved. So if you're a Democrat throughout Onondaga County, there is a primary happening in your neck of the woods, you can vote on Thursday. Now, there are also other smaller party primaries. There are inside the city of Syracuse, again for city court judge, there's a conservative, independents, working families, women's equality, and a Reform Party primary. There's a Reform Party primary countywide for Attorney General. There's a conservative judicial delegates primary and a smattering of, there's a women's equality primary in the 53rd Senate District and a smattering of Republican committee primaries throughout the county and one Democratic committee primary. These are for party positions on the party. Now, a unique twist to this year is the Reform Party primary. This actually started last year. If you're not enrolled in a political party, if you're not enrolled in any of the 7 major political parties, you can vote in the Reform Party primary. It's only for Attorney General, except for in the city. It also has city court judge. So anybody who wants to vote in that who is a blank or non-enrolled voter, as well as a Reform Party member, you can vote in that. In every other primary, you have to be a member of that party to vote in that election. So you have to have already been enrolled as a Democrat or to enroll into participate in most of the primaries that are happening, or conservative independents inside the city. Conservative inside the judicial district, independents, working families, women's equality and reform inside the city, or women's equality in the 53rd Senate district. You have to be or Republican in those Republican committee primaries that we are having. And you can't change your party now. It's too late for this year. Of course, you can vote in the general election, which is coming up in November. But for primaries, if you're not a member of those parties, you cannot vote in the primaries. Now, how do you find out whether you're a member of the party? Well, you can go to the Onondaga County Board of Elections website. I put it in the subject of the video here, but it's www.ongov.net/elections. Right on the top of the front page, it says check your voter registration here. We'll be happy to check your voter registration, and you can look at it live online, and whatever's there is what is at on our books. And also, by the way, you can get your polling place there as well. So our Board of Elections website is pretty up to date with most of the right information on it, or all of the information that we can put on there. And it's all correct regarding what your current registration is, and also what your current party is, and where to vote. So now, what happens if you go on there and you find out that your address that you're currently living at, you haven't updated your voter registration? You've moved, you're staying in the party, but you moved somewhere inside the county, and you want to vote on Thursday. Well, you find out where your new polling place is. You're going to have to probably give us a call at 315-435-VOTE, or send me a message. I'll take a look and see where your current polling place is, and then you will go to that new polling place, not the polling place that's listed on our website because you have your old address on there, but the new polling place, and fill out what's called an affidavit ballot. And you'll go to the counter, you'll say to the inspector, I'm a new voter, and I want to have an affidavit ballot, and those inspectors will give you a ballot. You'll fill it out. You'll fill out the paperwork that goes along with it. Then when we get that back, we will double check your old registration. If you're all set, we will update your registration, and we will count that ballot. What happens if you're going to be out of town on Thursday, September 14th? Well, then you got to get an absentee ballot. Now, you have until Wednesday to get an absentee ballot. It's probably too late to mail in an application and have us mail it back to you, because you got to mail it out by Wednesday. So if you haven't got an application for an absentee, come down to our office. We're open from 8:30 to 4:30, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's Onondaga County Board of Elections, 1000 Erie Boulevard West, and we're pretty much open the entire time. You'll be able to come in. It's one-stop shopping. You fill out your application, you get your ballot, you fill it out, put it in the envelope, give it back to us. You're all voted. You're all done. That's if you're going to be out of the county on throughout the time that the polls are open on Election Day, or if you're infirmed or unable to get to your polling place because of infirmity, you could do that. Now, you could also go to our website and print up the application and have somebody come down to the board and pick up your ballot for you. You can designate them on the application. If you go to the absentee portion of ongov.net/elections, print up a form, sign it, and designate someone to pick up the ballot for you, they can do that, pick up the ballot, and then mail it in. Again, it has to be mailed by Wednesday, or let's say your wife is staying in town and you're going out of town, or vice versa, but they're going to go to the polls on Election Day. They can turn in that absentee ballot at the polls. Now, also, a lot of times people say they're not sure, but they get an absentee, but then they're available on Election Day. What do they do then? Well, you go into the polling place and you vote. That's what the law says to do. And we have your name checked in our poll book to say this person voted by absentee, and then they're going to call us and let us know that you voted by absentee, and we're going to pull your absentee ballot. You may want to let them know when you're there that you already voted by absentee, but you'll still be able to vote at the polling place as well. What else? Now, I've talked about affidavit ballots. I've talked about absentee ballots. Again, polling hours is very important, noon to 9. They don't start till noon, and that's every primary that we've ever had here in upstate New York. All of your 178 polling places are open because we have primaries throughout the state, so all 178 polling places are open. If you get to your polling place and you believe it is your right polling place, you've checked it online or you've called us and we've told you what your right polling place is and you're not in the book, ask for an affidavit ballot. The inspectors will give that to you. If you're not in the book, you may not be registered in the party. So that's something that is hard with a primary. So you have to make sure that you're registered in the party. And if you changed your registration after October, I think it was 11th of last year, then your registration won't update until next year. Now, yes, that law is something I wish would change, but it's been around since 1909, so it's not something new. If you're changing your party, it'll take almost a year for it to change. That's to keep people from, just changing their party every year and voting in a primary, whatever one they want to vote in. It was also to keep, back in the day, party bosses from stuffing the ballot box with their friends who weren't actually rolled in the party, and they would change the day of the election and come in. So it was meant as a reform, but I think in modern society it would be nice if they changed it, but it hasn't been changed yet. So you still have to vote. You still have to change your registration a year ahead of time before you are able to vote in primaries. Again, if you have any questions, start asking them now. I'll be more than happy to answer them live, or I'll answer them afterwards as well. A few other things, just to recap. Again, it's Thursday, September 13th. The reason it was changed from Tuesday, because Tuesday was September 11th. Anytime a primary falls on September 11th, they tend to move it. Sometimes they move it a week away. Sometimes they move it a couple days. This time they did move it to the Thursday. There's also a Jewish holiday, Rosh Hashanah, and that's another reason why they moved the election. And that is different for this year. It's different for this election. So please be aware of that. If you go to the polls on Tuesday, there will be nobody there. Nobody there to take your ballot anyways. And again, if you experience any... let's talk about passive electioneering. There's a lot of confusion on this. There's some, there was a Supreme Court ruling about apparel worn in polling places on a Minnesota law. That ruling has nothing to do with the New York law, and the New York law is still in place and still active. If you are going to the polling place on Thursday and you're going to vote and you're wearing anything that is related to a candidate that is on the ballot on Thursday, you will be asked to cover it up or take it off before getting your ballot. Inside that 100-foot mark of a polling place, there is no electioneering, and wearing campaign paraphernalia is considered passive electioneering. This is a standard throughout New York State. It's something that we've enforced in the past and will continue to enforce. And I also think it's a good idea because, the polling place is where people go to vote. They should be willing and able to vote their ballot in a free way without harassment and without pressure. You can't hand pamphlets inside that 100-foot mark. You can't talk to voters inside that 100-foot mark, try to convince them to vote for other people, and you can't wear campaign paraphernalia inside that 100-foot mark as well. And if you see anybody doing that, report it to the inspectors that are there that day. And if you don't feel like you're getting that satisfaction from them, call us at the board, 315-435-VOTE, and we'll be more than happy to go ahead and, and try to address that ourselves. Again, I'm going to go through the list of candidates one more time. If you have any questions, ask them. If not, just pop them in the comment section afterwards. And I hope to do these videos every Sunday to kind of tell you what's going on in the election season as we as we get through the November election. Hey, Jay, Dan has a question. Oh, has the odd election timing caused any issues finding enough election workers inspectors? No. No, it has not. Not for us, anyways. Maybe other counties it has. But we knew about this Thursday date back in April, and we've been working with our inspectors through the election classes that we have to do an election inspection class every year for every inspector. So we let them know about the dates and asked them about their availabilities and let them know that it was Thursday. So we haven't had any more issues than normal. I mean, we always have issues with election inspectors, and we always need them, by the way. If you want to be an election inspector, give us a call or let us know through an email or something, and we'll get you on a class, maybe not for this year's election, but for next year. But, we always have trouble finding inspectors. We got to get 2,000 out there in November and a little bit less than for the primary. So it's a lot of people to get out in the field and train and make sure are done. So thank you, Dan, for that question. The odd election timing it will cause some problems. I'm sure it will have a lot of people who don't remember that that it is a Thursday, but I'm hoping that it'll be all right. And that's why one of the reasons why I'm doing this video. So share this video, let people know about the new election time and all the things that they need to know to be able to vote in this primary. Again, Democratic primary throughout the county for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, 53rd Senate Democratic primary for state Senate, also women's equality primary for the state Senate. We have a city court judge Democratic primary, but also working families, independence, and women's equality and reform for the city court judge inside the city of Syracuse. And a smattering of committee primaries for Republicans, a judicial delegate primary for the conservatives, and a one committee primary for the Democrats happening throughout all of Onondaga County. If you go to our website, ongov.net/elections, on the candidate information, has a full candidate list, has sample ballots on there. It has, you can look up your polling place by looking up your voter registration, know where you're going, know what your party is, and so you can know what primary you're eligible to vote in on election day. I think that's about it, unless there's any other questions. I'd be more, again, comment on the video. I'm going to pin this to the top of my Facebook page. And if you have any comments or questions, be more than happy to answer them after the fact, or PM me and I'll try to get you the answer. Thank you very much for tuning in to our weekly election talk. I don't know what to call this yet, but I'm going to try to do these weeklies on Sundays throughout the November election. And if you have any questions, please reach out. And more importantly, get out there and vote on Thursday, September 13th from noon to 9. It's your right to vote. It's your responsibility to vote. People have literally died for your right to vote. So get out there and choose who your best nominee are. And then once we have our nominees, we'll be able to look forward to victory in the fall. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.